Hey guys, Crystal here, and today I'm bringing you a video. More specifically, we are looking at the mid-year freakout tag, brought to you to start by Anna Robbins and Malin Tries, who talked about it on their stream a few days ago, a few weeks ago. Time is a bit of a weird soup. The video was created by Curious Cat over on YouTube, so I'll be linking that down below. And I thought this was just gonna be a fun way to talk about how the year's been going. Since I mean they talked about it during their chats and while they were streaming and stuff, and they were asking the chat to answer the question, so I'm gonna count this as a tag. Kinda. So yeah, let's talk about how the year's been going. So for me, mostly focus on writing. I may do a full more in-depth year update thing later. Depends on how many tangents I get through while answering these questions. So let's get started, shall we? Question number 1: Did you set any writing goals at the beginning of the year? If what were they, and are you on track? So I kept my goals pretty bite-sized, so that way I wouldn't like overwhelm myself, and then continue to add more to them, and but continue to overwhelm myself and stuff and things. It's fine. But the goals goeth thusly: start book draft, book 2 zero draft, project hide and seek. Get feedback, especially since I decided that I wasn't sure about how the story felt it was going. Start draft 1, editing the feedback that I got from the zero draft feedback, and then eventually do beta feedback. I also had some non-writing goals that are kind of getting in the way of my writing goals, looking after my physical health, trying to work on my mental health, and also wanting to start and or finish the versions of Incarnate's Rise that I wanted to do. I hopefully I get to do a hardcover and an audiobook. But am I on track? Yes. Kind of. So, I did indeed start book 2 zero draft. I did indeed send it out for feedback because I wasn't sure if I needed to add more to it. It was feeling kind of rushed, but also kind of oddly padded. I wasn't trusting my own brain, so I sent it out, and then I started draft 1. So far, I have not sent it out for feedback. I am currently on chapter 12, and it's going. We're working on it. We're kind of on track. The year's not over yet, so we're in Q3 right now. So there's still plenty of year left to finish this draft and get it out for feedback. Question 2: if not already covered, what are you currently working on and how much writing have you done this far? As I said, I'm working on draft 1 of Project Hide and Seek, the Godsborn series book 2. I figure, you know what? How about I show you my writing progress so far? Because I have a notion for such things. And yeah, so I'm gonna make myself small and I'm gonna show you. Here we are. So technically these are 2 separate lists. And I'm saying it that way because where I am in the chapters, you'll see that I'm on progress over here on chapter 12, but the dates keep going further. So I have 2 columns to track my chapter progress and 2 columns just for ease of view of the dates and the word counts I got in them. I haven't recorded the POVs in here yet. I felt like that was a very minor spoiler. So I just kind of left them as I made the template from Malin's tutorials on how to build Notion. Thanks, Malin. So here are my word counts for February all the way to July. You can see there are some days that were massive word counts, other days were not, and other days just don't show up at all. So this is my writing progress so far. We're just kind of taking it one day at a time, and yeah, we're progressing. I do still like the chapter list that I have there is not a cohesive list of how many chapters because there are some subplots I want to add. There is some stretching and some tweaking I want to do to the overall draft. It is still too short. But we're kind of just we're trucking along. We're trucking along. So, could I have done this in two separate tables? Probably. Will I? I like this how it looks. So anyway, back to the questions. Question 3. Have you reached any milestones so far this year? Whether it be word count, stages in the project, other events, and the life as a writer. So, I went to 2 book events this year, uh, which was on May 30th for Bookfest, which was an actual physical event where I went to a outdoor sort of market situation where there was a bunch of other authors and a bunch of tables. That is where I got the Book Dragon signage and the 3D printed Book Dragon over there. It was a lovely time. I met some wonderful authors, which I have their books as well. Um, I had fans stop by. I had family members. It was just a lot of fun. It was my first ever book event. I was so far out of my league or out of my depth. Not my league, my depth. Um, but it was great. I did a reading. I fell over trying to get to the reading because instead of using the stairs, I'm like, I can climb these risers. Everyone else is doing it. I'm not in shape like everyone else. It was kind of funny, but it was a lot of fun, and maybe hopefully some point I will actually make that How Did Bookfest video go. So I don't want to make this video super, super long. But every time I say I want to make the Bookfest video, it doesn't show up. And I feel bad because I'm trying not to promise things that are not going to happen. So yeah, if you have any questions about how Bookfest went, put them down in the comments so then I'll answer them in a Bookfest video, as well as the comments. Maybe. You know your girl sometimes talks out her ass. It's fine. The other the other book event I went to was Canada Fiction Fest. Technically, it was a digital writing event, much like the worldwide, the Storyteller's Hearth, except for without the sprinting. There were a bunch of panels for different genres and different things in writing. So the panel I went to was was talked about the essentials of world building, and it was just lovely chatting with fellow Canadian authors. I would link it below, but the videos are going down at the end of I think this week for like privacy stuff. That is what the Fiction Fest organizers decided, which is fine. And I also did a reading a few days ago where I got to read the prologue of Incarnate's Rise, and people really, really did enjoy listening to me read the prologue, which I saw some folks from our Trouble community stop by, and I really did appreciate that so much. Shout out to Jessica Berry and Stieg for that. You guys, seeing you guys in the chat kind of just made my day. So I'm sorry to throw you on blast, but you guys are awesome. If you watched the video or showed up in live and lurking, you are also awesome too. It was a lot of fun, and I hope to do it again. Both Bookfest, both Fiction Fest, any other event. Your girl, that was a bug that I didn't really know that I wanted to be bit by, and I was bit by it, and now I'm just kind of like, I want to do more events. I really do. That would be so cool. Anyway. So those were my milestones as far as that went. Yeah. And I completed a draft and got feedback and started another draft. Any progress I feel like should also be a milestone, even if sometimes my brain doesn't think of them as a milestone. I'm really bad at celebrating my successes. I'm trying to work on that. So yeah. Next question. What does your writing routine look like right now? If I have one, Has it changed since the beginning of the year or previous years? Am I happy with it? And if not, what would I like? What would I want it to look like? This gets a little weedy, I'll admit. So, my writing routine is kind of fluid, let's just say, because I've been having a lot of focusing issues. You'll see me like I'm actually like reading this off just to make sure that I get what I want to say out. um Mental health has been all over the place. My physical health has been once again a thing, not as big as a thing as it was earlier. I was having some pain. I went going to physical therapy for it to fix the pain. I'm fine. Everything is great. It's just these things take time, and so it takes time away from writing. Um, I am really trying to give myself grace on days that are not writing. You saw there was chunks in that chart where days were missing, weeks were missing. Um, but I get really frustrated in that concept of wasting days. Like, I'm not going to get this book published if I do not write it, if I do not edit it, if I do not, if I do not. And any day, there are days that feel like a waste of time because I'm watching stuff all day, or I'm scrolling on my phone, or I'm playing video games, or whatever it is I'm doing, I'm not writing, so therefore I'm not using my time efficiently. And I know that is not 100% true, and that is mean to the person who is going through the chronic pain and the minor health, mental health, not quite spirals, but just not days where I'm not well. And I'm working with trying to let myself have those days, but not let myself become complacent, which is kind of how I feel about letting too many of those days happen. Spite is my superpower, and I try really hard to just keep going. And I want to do like a mini challenge. I'm mentioning all of my friends in this video, but Marta, from the channel Marta, did a 365-day writing challenge where even though she didn't quite feel like the best every single day, like she tried to write for like even 7 minutes. If I'm being like too narrow of an explanation on that, Marta, let me know down the say something in the comments. But I want to do something like that because maybe getting out of my own way might help stick in getting stuff done. What I want my writing routine to look at in this wonderful nebulous concept that is my life is start writing at 8 or 9 a.m. and stopping at 3 p.m. 5 days a week, giving myself 2 days off to rest. I know I just said I was thinking about doing a 365-day challenge, so that would eliminate those 2 days. But I've also noticed that I've been having those moments where I feel like writing on those days off while I'm doing something else. And it's like I should follow that movement in my brain. I don't know what that sentence was. Where if I want to write, for even at least a small chunk of time. That way, I'm not denying myself those moments where I do feel it because I'm supposed to have a day off. I don't work for a living. I am a self-employed author, unemployed person. So I construct my own days. So shouldn't I be able to construct my own grace as well? I don't know. It's weird. I know I was saying this wasn't going to get too deep. There's a thought process I had that once I published Incarnate's Rise, that I would have to immediately keep working with a fervency because I was going to be a professional author. So therefore, like if I don't write, I don't eat, which isn't actually true. Hubby is taking very good care of me and far of being the financial provider. But it's just this concept of I started the thing, so now my relationship with writing has to change. And I feel like that is in jeopardy of being twisted into something unhealthy. So we're working on it. Yay! It's fine. Let's move on to the next question. Have I encountered any good resources around writing? kind of. I mean, I've rediscovered Notion once again. Thank you to the lovely Malin Tries for her efforts in teaching people to use Notion in her tutorial videos. They were amazing. I also, I think it was this year, I bought a couple more craft books, which are these two here. I've tapped into this one. I haven't read too much into it. And I want to get into this one at some point. Some of these lists are actually really helpful. I don't remember them now as I'm talking about it, but these are technically resources, right? Next question. If you write with a playlist, what is your current go-to songs to get into writing mode? So, I do have an actual written thing of what I was going to say here. And it's mostly true. But this script was written before I ran into some TikToks that were kind of amusingly inspiring. So first off, the start of the question. Yes, I have playlists. I have playlists for books. I have playlists for the series as a whole. I have playlists for characters. I have playlists for like scenes in especially for the prequel. There's a playlist called The Last Night, which is the final war. I think I called it the War of Embers, and how that ended. Before I jump into those playlists, I usually listen to a small handful of songs. There's Bones for the Crows by Nickelback. It is, I did not think Nickelback could go that hard anymore. In like this fantasy sort of folky, it is an amazing song, and you can, I don't care if you think it's fun. It's bad for me to like Nickelback. We don't like yums on this channel. Also, there is Free, and this is what it sounds like, but from the K-pop Demon Hunters movie, as well as Idol is another really good song that I tend to like kind of listen to kind of get myself in. But that was before I ran into these TikToks, which were a lot of TikToks about like writer in power, woman in power, very much be a man, or I'll make a man out of you, from the Mulan soundtrack. I have gotten into women fitness TikToks. I'm assuming that's because I was looking at different ways to do cardio and getting myself, physically fit again. And then, so those were amazing. Then there was also what I was calling with the writer in power videos, where authors have been showing like their journeys, and the song in the background is I Can Go the Distance from the Hercules soundtrack, either the first song or its reprise, depending on where they were in the journey. And I'm gonna tell you folks, those songs hit harder than Disney. Like, I know Disney songs, they can go with the baseball bat and whack you a few hundred times in the head. But seeing those writing journeys while I'm kind of like in my own head lately, is those were hitting really hard, and I was listening to those a couple of times to get myself writing on those days where I really just wanted to curl up and pretend I'm a potato. So that's that one. Next question. I've already forgotten where we are. The toughest moment related to your writing so far this year. It's attached to the previous question. But it's being okay with not being in the right headspace to write. Dealing with my frustrations of that, like the wasted time and stuff. Book 2 requires a lot of work in places, not much in others. And anytime I hit those moments where, like, I need to get this work done, I know this whole chapter needs to be reworked. That could risk following chapters, and that's just gonna create this avalanche of changes. And it scares me because I feel like the more I'm gonna have to work on it, the longer it's gonna take to get done. And then I'll stare at the document, and it's like that, the monkey with the symbols. I just can't think straight because I've paralyzed myself into going, oh God, what do I do next? And yeah, some days are better than others. I think that's been my line quite a few times. So far, I think I'm doing well. But that's been my toughest time right now, is just getting out of the spiders in my brain doing the things that they do with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all that kind of fun stuff. Next question. Best memory related to writing so far this year? Bookfest. I did actually have written. I published a motherfucking book. But technically I published a motherfucking book last year. Time is a weird soup. So Bookfest, definitely Bookfest. Being around so many other authors, talking about their stories, shooting the shit and sharing, and talking to readers, seeing what they like. Weird book. It was a weird experience. I'm not gonna. But yeah, it was so much fun, and I love not feeling like I'm the only writer in a bubble. And I know, like, the Trouble community, other communities I'm in, all of our circles of writers, like, I know you guys are out there, and I wish y'all didn't live in bubblefuck Alaska, because we're all together in this. But having, like, local writers, right? Like, I could leave my house today and go to a write-in event down in the downtown area. Actually, I don't think it's actually today, because today's Tuesday. But, like, I could theoretically do that if I wanted to. And just to, like, to have that opportunity, if I could, like, if I feel the vibe, it's a great feeling. It really is. So, yeah. I love how, like, I keep finishing the questions with so yeah, because, like, my brain will, like, butterfly at the end of the sentence, and I'm like, wait, how do I finish this point? Ah, shit. Okay, moving on. Something important you've learned or advice for your future shelf. My future shelf, guys. I want another bookshelf. Now, future self can be practical about the craft, or more broadly about your own practice. Walk away. I feel like that's the best advice that I've been getting. Because I've had friends who have come up and been like, "You're being bullshit. Stop." And I am horrible at listening to that, and I know I need to trust the process. I need to come back later instead of staring at the document going da 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 da. Um, I will, like, and I follow it and I unfollow it. I learn it, I unlearn it. Constantly revisit the same advice I was given the week before. It's not that I'm ignoring the advice of my friends, and I give the advice straight back, and I can't follow it worth a shit. Previously stated, some days are better than others, but it's important to understand that sometimes it just doesn't happen, and it's okay to not be okay. Next question. What would you like to accomplish with my writing for the second half of the year? I want to get the draft done. I would love to get draft 1 of book 2 finished and over, and start looking at finding beta readers for it, as well as start working on the audiobook while I am mostly alone in the house, since my grand is going on vacation, and it'll be a little quieter, and I'll be able to do the things. I guess all that's left is to take other writers. So I don't want to put any pressure on um my fellow authors, my colleagues, my fellow writers, because I know life is an interesting tilt-a-whirl of why is this happening, and oh hey look, this is happening. So I'll just leave a generalized tag here at the end of this video. If you want to do the video, please let me know, let your communities know how your mid-year has been going, and tell me that you've done the video, and I want to watch it. I want to know how things are going for you. Because we're all living the struggle bus, or riding the struggle bus, and at least there's enough seats that we can ride it together. I just really liked how that sounded when I said it a couple days ago, so now it's a thing that I say. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening to this almost half-hour tangent. That has been your girl. I get to edit it down now to make it a little bit more better. But until next time, I love and appreciate every single one of you. And I'll see you guys in the next video, stream, reel, event, wherever the hell it is you find me next. Bye, guys.